Hi, I'm Lisa Horton. I'm from Lisa Horton Crafts, and I'm here today to show you a quick tutorial how to use my embossing folders, stencils and dies. So what we have, first of all, we have our fabulous 3D embossing folders. The system works exactly the same for all embossing folders and all of our stencils. So you get the embossing folder, and each time you buy one of our embossing folders you will also get a complementing outline cutting die. And alongside that we supply you also with your layering stencils. Now these can range between 1 to 9 stencils, and they're all marked on each stencil in the corner with a number. So it makes it really easy for your lining up. Now the other beautiful thing about the system is we use our Ulti-Mate platform. Now this is a system whereby you have pegs across the top and they are all coordinating with our stencils here. So what you find is when you take your cardstock, pop it onto your platform, you can then lay your stencil over with ease. You can do your inking, lift that one off and then do the next one. But I'll take you through the whole process and you can see from start to finish how we can create a beautiful project with really simple steps. So let me get my stencils in order here. And the only other thing you're going to need is some inks and some blending brushes. So in the corner of our stencils, it's very hard to see, but there is a number and they're numbered in the top corner. So always make sure that your stencils are facing the same way up. The reason for this is when you pop your die across the top, if you want to cut it out, you can cut it out like so. But if your numbers are over here, it's the reverse image, so you won't get the right side of the die cutting unless your image is literally a symmetrical image. So turn these over and I'm going to pop these all to one side. The embossing folder will come in separately in a moment, but let's do the stenciling first. So let's start with number 1. So on your mat as well, or on your platform as well, what you can see is you have a silicone mat underneath which prevents your work from moving. So it's really handy to have that. But if you do feel you need to tape it down, feel free. A little bit of low tack masking in the corners can hold that in position if you need it to. So let's go in with stencil number 1. And I'm actually using pigment inks. I do recommend using a dye-based ink or something that's very blendable. Now my pigment inks aren't designed for blending, but they do blend beautifully, bizarrely. So use what you've got in your stash or invest in some inks that you find are going to blend together easily. So layer 1, we just go in with a light coverage of colour, and you'll see when you do this that it looks very strange and you think, have I put this on the wrong way, or you know, this can't be right. But once you get to stencil number 6 or the last stencil, it will all come together for you. So literally across like so. Now you can leave it there and lift the stencil off like so and you'll get your outside detail. But what I like to do is pop the stencil back down, and I like to bring in a grey sometimes, and this just gives you a little bit of definition. So using a grey ink, grab yourself a brush. Now my brush is well loved and well used. These are our Stencil Brushes which are available. Take off the majority of the ink, and then all I want you to do is kind of flick around the edge, and what this is going to do, it's going to give you a shadowed look. So whatever stencil of mine you use, if it comes with the layering system, you can do exactly the same process on each occasion and you can make some really cool effects. So extra ink, blot it off like so, and then come in around the edge. Less is more for this because you can always add it, but you can't take it away. The rest of the layers are relatively quick. This is just the outside edge, just to give you some beautiful detail. So pop that like so, just around that edge there. Pick up a little bit more colour, like that. So almost your stencil almost becomes your palette. And these brushes are great simply because they've got like a chamfered end to them, and they blend absolutely seamlessly and they get into all those small areas. So it looks like we haven't done much there, but when we lift this off, you'll see how cool this looks already. So lift that up. Very happy with that. So that's layer number 1, and then we come in with layer number 2. And actually I'm going to go back to that grey again, I think. Just to get the detail of the leaves, we literally go over the top again. And I won't do this, I'll do it, this will be a little bit random. I'm not going to do this in specific areas. I want it to be a little bit light in some areas, a little bit darker in others. So you might find some areas have got the detail, some haven't. But when it all comes together, you're going to see how almost like natural this looks. So just a little bit around here. It's a really cool, and it's quite a therapeutic process as well. And it's nice to see the result as you go along, and you'll see it building up into a beautiful image. Pop that down there, just slightly on that one. And I come off, you see I come onto the stencil first and then into the work. Lift that up. Yeah, that looks lovely. Pop that to one side. Let's grab stencil number 3. And these are your sunflower elements. So you're now going to get your 2 outlines of your sunflowers. So the principle is the same for every single stencil that you use, irrelevant if it's this set or if it's another set that we have, but all of them are absolutely beautiful. And you'll find when you do this, when you first start doing this, your first one is always your worst one, because you learn what you like and what you don't like with your colours. You learn where you should have put a little bit more blending or not, or where you've been a little bit too heavy-handed. But once you've done it once, you will find this is one of the easiest systems to use. And the platform we're using is my Ulti-Mate. This is the Ulti-Mate 2. This is the Ulti-Mate 2 because it doesn't have the hinge platform on it, but it does have a scoreboard on the back of this one, and it has some tools in the top. The Ulti-Mate number 1, which is also available, has a hinge platform on it, and it allows you to do your stamping as well. So they are designed for different reasons, but both have this unique peg system. So that's layer number 3, which is very, very cool. And again, I could have gone in and done that shadowing, but I don't really want that for this layer. And then actually, do you know what? I'm going to go back in with that same yellow again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in with that yellow, but I'm going to press a little bit harder this time. So we're going to get a heavier look. There we go. Just with adding more ink. So also remember that with your ink pads, you can get more than one colour out of an ink pad. Now, what I will do is these circular bits in the middle, I'm going to bring in that grey brush again. And I'm going to pop just a little bit of grey in some of these areas. Again, tap off and literally round the edge of the grey. It would just give some definition around your sunflower as well. I'm going to pick the ink up from there. Not too much. Always remember, less is more, and build that up. Lift that off. Look at that. So it makes it look like the sun's shining on them. That's that again. Let's bring in number 5. So this is again another bright yellow sunflower, but we'll give it a little bit more detail on this one so it stands proud. So back with that yellow, and we'll do all the way around like so. Maybe a little bit darker around those edges just so it stands a little bit better away from the others. Just move that out of the way. I'm just going to get that grey brush just to see if I've got anything left on there. No, I haven't. I need to bring in just a little bit more. And then once we've done this, we are going to literally cut it out and emboss it, and you'll see what a beautiful technique this creates and how easy it is. It's achievable for everybody, whatever level of crafter you are. This is going to really take your craft into another level. Lift that up. There we go. And then we're going to use one more, and that will be, oh no, it's two more. I lie. I'm going to pop that yellow back on again, a little bit darker as we did before. Bring that in like so. So I've really only used 3 colours, a yellow, a grey and a green. That grey one more time, just on that detail there, just like so in the middle, just to give it a little bit of definition, which I like. Makes the sunflowers look like they're shining. And then finally, I'm going to come in with the final layer. But what we're going to do with the final layer is we're going to add an orange, because what this is going to do is going to create all of our little centres. So I don't mind I've got grey on the brush, because it will mix that orange and make it a little bit darker. And we'll pop that straight in the middle. There we go. They're a little bit darker here. A little bit darker here, and I'll make that one in the middle a little bit darker. And let me lift that up to see if I'm happy. Not quite, I need to get into here just a little bit more. So press harder where your bits are missing, like so. I think that'll be absolutely fine. And then I've got a couple of little bits of leaf that need doing. So my brush, go back in with the green, and it's a little bit of the, actually no, these, yeah, I'm going to do it in green. These pieces that we're looking at now are the closed buds, so you could do them an orange colour if you want to, but I'm going to leave them green for this occasion. Pop that in there, a little bit down there, and that down there. Now that is done completely. So we've finished with all of this. Let's move this out of the way. Oops, literally take that off. So that's super cool. So that is the first part of the technique. So the next thing you need to do is take the die. So we're going to grab the die. What I do need to do is grab my 2 plates. These are my 2 cutting plates. I'm using my Tonic Tangerine, and what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our orange plate like so, and then we're going to pop this over and we're going to line that up. And I'm going to grab some low tack masking tape as well from my bag, and what I'd suggest you do is just tape it in a couple of areas just to hold that down nicely. Don't be too precious about this, it really doesn't matter, but if you get it roughly in the right position like so, cut that out. So as I say, this works for all of the folders and all the stencils in our collection, so never fear, we don't change the way we do it, it's done exactly the same way every time. Run that one through very quickly. It might crack because it's a big die, but that's fine, at least we know it's doing its job. There we go, a little crack. And that's using the white and the orange plate of the tangerine just to do the cutting. So turn that over now, and you'll see, take your tape off, and always keep your tape for another occasion because it's got more use in that. And actually it's better the second time normally because you've lost the extra sticky on it. So pop that down like so, move that out of the way. So now we've got that beautifully die cut image. Isn't that stunning? So the next thing we need to do is move these out of the way, and we're going to now grab our embossing folder here. And you'll see from here, it literally is a case of you lining up your stencil on your image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the raspberry plate in I've got, because it's darker underneath and you can see better what I'm doing. So that shows it up much more clearly, and I can see where it needs to line up. So if I literally pop my detail inside and then use your finger and line up one point, so I'm lining this point up here, and then I swivel with the other finger and I move it to roughly where I think it should go. And I think that's not too bad. And then you close your folder like so, and I take my raspberry plate and my lime plate, run those through, and then we'll have our embossed, stenciled and die cut image ready to pop on a card. And it's that easy. Oh, what a great system. I can see that looks beautiful already. So move that out of the way, and that. And I'll lift this up and you'll see the detail. There we go. It's got stuck in the top there. So you can now see how beautiful the detail is in your folder. So it's so detailed, and on the back you can see all the beautiful embossing. It's just absolutely stunning. And all you need to do now is grab yourself a card. So I've got a little DL card here. I won't make the card up, but it just gives you an idea that you can pop that onto your card all ready to add a little sentiment, and you're good to go. So literally you've got your detail created from 2 products, which are our embossing folders and dies and our beautiful stencils that match.